I'll just open with questions.
Open questions.
Yep.
I guess what went wrong, do you think? And also, I just want to ask particularly about Trey too. I know he wanted to have a good game coming off the off night against Clemson. Struggled especially the second half here. Was it things that FSU did, or was it a combination? What do you think went wrong with your team?
It's a combination of both. I think it started when we had a little rhythm going, and then we had three straight turnovers. I believe we had an inbound turnover, and then Trey turned it over, and then our rhythm is kind of out of whack after that. Um, they did a good job of switching between man and zone in the middle of the possession, which isn't abnormal, but we let the ball stick again for the second straight game. And we weren't flowing and getting to our second side and getting to our after actions. And right now, the biggest thing besides all that is just I didn't feel like we played with the urgency and the desperation needed for this game. Whenever a team hasn't won a conference game, they're going to play with every game they've been in, except for North Carolina State, to be honest with you. Syracuse, they were there. Wake Forest, they lose on a buzzer beater, kind of similar to tonight. Same thing. Duke game, they're right there. So their desperation and their belief was there, and I didn't think we matched it. And that's the one thing I got to figure out, and the one thing that's got me messed up right now, and I got to get the team back to where we have been. And we had a little bit of a run going, and seasons are long, so they come in waves. So we had I think 10-game win streak or whatever it was, and now we've gotten a little funk, and now we got to get out of it.
Can I just ask a follow up? Do you think is it possible that some guys got or people just get comfortable when you had a 15-2 start, 4-0 start in the ACC? Everyone's talking about making the top 25 and all that. Do you think that maybe there was complacency?
I hope not, but I think anything's on the table with the way we play. We don't have much complacency around here, but with how we've played the last two games, that's not far fetched.
Coach, just offensively, especially in the second half, what do you kind of attribute the lack of effectiveness to? Just what do you think kind of went wrong in that
We
regard?
just look gun shy. We just looked like we were second guessing and hesitant, and that's not us, and that's not who we are, and who we've been, and I got to figure out why we are that way, and once we get that cleaned up and figured out, we'll be fine. But right now, we just look gun shy, and it just felt like the game, like we were just kind of hesitant a little bit.
And then also, I guess, kind of on that same note of hesitancy, it seemed like a lot of the turnovers, especially in the first half, were like the live ball variety.
Yep.
Is that sort of like the same trend of the hesitancy on offense?
Exactly. It is. And for them, that's how you give them life. I mean, if you look at the stat sheet, you're holding a team, a high scoring team, and a team that makes almost 11 threes a game, and they only shoot 17 when they're shooting 32. I thought who we are and what we're about, and our desperation showed up when they matched us in free throws. We only win the glass by +5, and we only win the paint by 2. For me, that shows where our mindset and our physicality and our assertiveness is. If our stat sheet looks like that, then we aren't playing with the right intensity.
Obviously, every game is a teaching moment and an opportunity to learn and grow.
Yep.
I know it's been a couple minutes, but looking back on this one and looking back on the Clemson game, what's the biggest thing that needs to be addressed heading into Syracuse?
That's exactly what I talked about. Our urgency and our desperation. If we do that, I think everything else will take care of it. We know, and we've always known how people will guard us once they've scouted us and once we see it, and nothing's going to change with that. But our pace with what we play is what's supposed to offset it. And right now, we're just kind of sluggishly getting through our stuff, and we got to change that.
Got time for a couple more.
Coach, you sluggishly getting through stuff. Do you think there could be some, I guess, bench production that could also help with that 25?
Yeah, it is, and with Dante and then Timo and Nome, those guys we put their floor spacers, so they got to shoot some of these threes that they're getting. I thought they turned some down. I thought Trey turned down a bunch in the second half when they were going under the ball screens and stuff, and that's what I was kind of saying. We just felt like we started second guessing ourselves, and it gave them opportunities within the game to kind of stay there, but also pull away, because then most of the second half we were kind of playing from behind a little bit.
It's clear that you found it important to recruit from Florida, and you'll have another chance against the Seminoles later this season. Just how important are these in-state games for recruiting?
I think they're important. It's a different time now. Usually back, I guess 10 years ago, each team would have a bunch of kids from Florida. I think maybe they have two, maybe, and we have the most. But it's a rivalry, so it means something to the fan base. It means something to the university. So that's always important to me.
Have these last two ACC losses been the biggest challenge so far in your first year? And if not, what has been the biggest challenge?
I mean, nah, this my biggest challenge started the day I got the job of building the program how I wanted, hiring the staff, and we're still a young program. We're still learning and growing together. And this loss and part of this right here is part of building our culture. We got 12, 13 new guys. Although they've played a bunch of college basketball, we've never done it together. So this is a lesson and a teaching point, and we just got to move on and try not to learn this lesson too many more times.
Christian, you wrap us up.
As much as tonight was a rivalry game, it was also a day to celebrate Coach Larinaga and the impact he's had on this program. With him being so involved with this staff and this team, what is the biggest lessons that he's instilled into you as you've taken on this first year as being a head coach?
He has really stayed out the way, to be honest. I know he's there if I need him. And usually that's hard for coaches who just retired and haven't been around, but he's done a great job of just being supportive. He's at every game. The only time I really see him is if he comes by the office to get some stationery for his class that he's teaching, some paper or some pens or something. But really he's done a great job of just letting me know that if I need him, he's there. And I have called him and asked him a few questions, and I checked on him last week with everything that happened with BC. But he's been great.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Good luck next one.
Go ahead. Whoever wants to start first.
Ernest, just what was the message from Coach Lucas after today's game?
Just moving forward. Obviously, the game didn't end how we wanted it to. But the last thing we're gonna do and the worst thing that we can do is obviously sit on it. We got to move on to Syracuse. And obviously gonna watch the film, look at our mistakes, see things we could have done better, and just go from there.
What do you think you could have done better? I know you haven't seen the film yet, but just for both of you, what do you think fell short tonight?
I feel like just everything that we talked about, everything that we worked on in practice leading up to this game, we fell short in all those areas. Honestly, it's obviously frustrating when you come out with a loss. In some games, you can make mistakes and still win. One thing I just say to my guys, just in the locker room, everything, just we gotta care. Obviously, no one cares. I mean, no one doesn't care. I love all my guys to death. You play this game for a reason, and that reason is to win. And obviously when you don't win, you get frustrated. We could get down on ourselves. But just like I said, we got to move forward, focus on Syracuse because, again, we're a great team. I didn't come here for no reason. Sheldon didn't come in here for any reason. So, again, just we got to play our brand of basketball day in and day out and just move forward.
Sheldon, you were kind of keeping Miami in the game really in the second half. Can you just talk about your game in particular and what was your assessment of what went wrong? Why were they able to pull this game out?
I think everything just leads to the defensive end. We can do whatever we want on offense, but if we don't go down there and get some stops, the games are going to end out not in our favor. So I just think moving on forward, we just got to get back to our identity and just guard the ball, be in those gaps, and just be more desperate. Coach Lucas talks about us being more desperate to get these dubs, so that's what we got to focus on.
For both of you offensively, these past two games at least has been a heavy first half turnover differential. What's going into those first halves is just not lackadaisical, but just slow moving offense, or is it just something that's going on?
I just think everything obviously comes down to approach. Like I said, one through all our guys, we care about this game. We care about this team, care about this program. But obviously there's an emphasis. Obviously average isn't enough, and just even exceeding that isn't enough. Obviously for my team and me personally too. I'm an overachiever. Shell's an overachiever. All of us, we want to achieve more and more and more. And I feel like every night that we go out and we feel like we didn't do enough, it hurts personally as a program. So, again, just like I said, just moving forward, we just got to lock in and understand that not only that we can do more, that we should expect more from ourselves, night in and night out.
Sheldon, you mentioned defensively is an area that the team needs to improve on throughout the rest of the season. Just what are some of those specifics that you think the team can can grow in on the defensive end?
Just playing team defense, guarding the ball, and just we got to compete more. I feel like we make things too easy for these other guys, and when we go down on offense, it's not easy for us. So we just got to be able to compete and just play with some heart.
And then you've made 2 3-pointers in 3 of the last 5 games. Just can you talk about that area of your growth this season and just your overall growth and confidence shooting the 3 ball?
My confidence is going to continue to grow. I work on it every single day. So I just got to shoot them, and they're going to fall when I shoot it the right shots at the right time. So it's just something I'm going to continue to work on.
Ernest or Shelton, despite tonight's loss, you guys have had a phenomenal start to the season, especially compared to the last few years. What does Coach Lucas instill in you guys consistently that's laid this foundation?
I mean, kind of just the message when I first committed here. The message for all the guys when we first got here. You know, of course, you know, we're not oblivious to where the program was last year. I mean, but for us, I mean, it's a clean new slate. You know, like I said, this is my first year here, Shells as well. And I guess we got a brand new group. And just for us, it's nothing really that we're trying to make amends for, nothing really that we're, you know, thinking of that happened and what happened and how things were. Just most importantly, just what we got to do right now, where we want to get to. You know, obviously, just like I said, we play this game to win. And literally, we want to be playing in April. You know what I mean? So we're just trying to get there. Dan, whether it be practice, game, off day getting treatment by any means necessary, just making sure we're doing all the right things all the time to achieve that.
Ernest, whether it be yourself or other players on the team, just who are the vocal leaders after today's game that were pushing that message of moving on and you know, growing for the next game?
Just everybody. You know, the best teams are player led. You know, obviously, coach, you know, he's going to come in and say his piece. You know, the assistant coaches are going to chime in. But I mean, the best teams are player led. You know, 1 through 15 or whatever it is. You know, all have a voice in the locker room. This locker room is not a locker room where there's a hierarchy whatsoever. You know, obviously, you know, Trey, you know, he's at the PG1 spot. You know, Leak, he's at the 4. You know, me, Shell, even though Shell's a freshman, you know, he still has a voice. Everyone has a voice. So it's never just us listening to one particular guy and just everyone's mute. It's just a collective. So.
Take 2 more quick ones. Do you think maybe you guys got a little too comfortable with 15 wins and a 4-0 start in the ACC and on the verge of being in the top?
Not at all.
5?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, every single night, you know, you strive to be perfect. But obviously, you know, again, things happen. You know, this is basketball. When you play this sport, you know what to expect, night in and night out. Whether the night goes your way or not, you know what to expect. And the biggest thing for us is just responding. You know, the same thing, the message after Clemson, you know, just respond. The same thing after this game, respond and moving on. So heading into Syracuse, you know, like I said before, just continuing to play our brand of basketball. We know the right things to do. Just got to come in tomorrow, watch the film, and just, you know, simply move forward.
Is this one hurt a little more being a state rival and also a team that was not doing well?
I think losing hurts either way. Being a rival probably has a little more to it, but coming out with a loss never feels good. So we just got to bounce back and build and just go into practice next day and just build off our mistakes and keep learning.
Yep.
All right, thank y'all.
Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, guys.